guys, it's Anthony. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to go over a little bit on how to close a car deal. I know salespeople early on in their career, especially ones that I've hired, and I've seen it in different stores, whether I've trained the salespeople or worked with the salespeople or they worked for me, whatever the case may be, I feel like the hardest thing for a salesperson to do eventually is to close the car deal. I know for me, that was the hardest part. I felt like I was progressing through every step of the sales process. We're getting really good at building rapport, getting really good at demonstrating the product, getting really good at being able to offer the customer a level 10 experience, make them feel super happy about being there, getting really good at presenting the numbers, educating the customer on the different options we may have for them. May they be a finance, may they be a lease, explaining how a lease works, going over all of the stuff. But when it came time to closing the car deal, it was tough for me. I felt like I didn't want the customer to feel like I was being a slippery salesperson and that they were thinking in their head, once I started to apply a little bit of pressure, there's the salesperson. I knew he was in there, right? I knew you were there all along trying to get me, and I just didn't know how to do it, right? We've talked about this in other videos, that once I realized that there has to be an undertone of closure throughout the entire transaction or process, meaning that it has to be understood verbally, but also subconsciously and with our disposition and with the seeds that we plant subliminally, that this is a business transaction. They're not there to make friends with me. And yes, as much as it helps to build rapport in terms of inevitably closing the deal, ultimately I'm not there to make friends with them either. Now, that would be great long term, but I do the customer a disservice if they don't leave in a vehicle different from the one they came in. But when it comes down to closing a car deal, and we're going to dive into the weeds in future videos, I just think fundamentally the most important thing that you could do as a salesperson, which seems so obvious, is just asking the customer, does this make a car deal for you today? Well, if I'm able to do this, will you leave with the vehicle today? Sometimes that feels so forward and that gets a little bit of intimidating, but it also seems so obvious that we overlook it. We try to overcomplicate the situation. I've heard it referred to before as the sharp edge close. Okay, so if we can do X payment, would you leave with the vehicle today? But you should be planting those seeds all along. So when it comes time to ask for the close, it doesn't feel as out of the blue. It doesn't feel like you're now throwing it on them unexpectedly. They should know that eventually we're going to try to close this deal. That's what we're here for. So point blank, just hit the customer between the eyes and ask them, if we're able to do X, Y, and Z, will you leave with the car today? And if they say no, you can then say to them, why not? I mean, it's obvious. This seems like it should be overly complicated, but it's not. Why not? Well, I have to go home and think about it. Then we know how to overcome that. We've talked about it in previous videos. We'll talk about it in future videos. I have to talk to my wife. The number's just higher than I thought it's going to be. I don't want to rush into a decision. This is my first stop. I'll wait till the market adjusts. Then you have to overcome all of those things. But you don't know the answer unless you ask for it. If you don't ask the question, you don't know the answer, and you never will. We talked about it in a couple of videos prior to this, that the most dangerous objection is the unspoken one. So in order to close the deal, just make sure you ask point blank, will you take delivery of your new vehicle right now if we're able to do X, Y, and Z, if we're able to accomplish the set terms that you're suggesting. The other thing is this, remember this, I'd rather have 80% of something than 100% of nothing. A lot of times we're afraid to give up gross profit, or we're afraid to switch to a vehicle that maybe doesn't have as much gross profit but might actually fit the parameters, or we're afraid to do X, Y, and Z when closing the deal. But I'd rather have 80% of something than 100% of nothing. Don't be afraid to lose something you don't have. So if you're not even in the ballpark with your customer, don't allow them to get combative, you to get frustrated, they're being unrealistic, and then you kick them out. You have to kind of move the needle slowly, move the ball downfield, start to slide the pieces of the puzzle together. If there's a lot of pieces out of place, don't try to throw them all together at once. Take one at a time, right? So focus on the money down, okay? Then focus on the term, right? Would term be an issue if we were able to back into your payment goal? I use that word trick a lot. Back into your payment goal, okay? Then focus on maybe, okay, if it meant getting to your payment goal, could we go with the lease, right? Could we lease the vehicle? Well, no, I don't usually lease my vehicles. Okay, totally understand, and I know you haven't leased in the past because financially you were able to make the numbers work on a finance, but this vehicle's $15,000 more, and I know you financed the vehicle last time because, and you reached an agreement because the payment was comfortable. If I can get to that comfortable payment on the lease, ultimately, isn't that the only thing that matters anyway, right? So then you start diving into the lease, and then, okay, I'll be open to the lease. Then you have to overcome the fact that they want 15,000 miles per year instead of 10. Then you have to overcome how the miles aren't going to be an issue. Then you have to overcome. So there's all these different things and these different objections or excuses, right? We talk about that in other videos. They could be excuses unless they're actually valid. I have to make sure they're valid objections first because a lot of times they're excuses. But you're going to have to overcome a number of things. To look at all of them at once becomes daunting and intimidating. And it's just like, it seems insurmountable. But just like the 1% better every day mindset and laying one brick at a time until you build a wall mindset, just overcome one at a time. And as you start to slide the pieces of the puzzle together, there may be one that remains. Let's say the one piece that remains is the only thing the customer has to do is be flexible in term. If they say yes to the 84 months, they can leave with the vehicle that they love right now, pay off the existing loan on the trade they're not happy with, and be at a comfortable monthly payment. If that's the only piece left in the puzzle, not only is it easier for you to overcome, it looks more obvious to the customer that one simple yes will get this done for them. They're more inclined to say yes to one thing in terms of being flexible than 5 things at once. So just focus on that when closing a deal. Hit them between the eyes and ask straight up, will this make a car deal today if we can make the numbers work? And focus on closing and overcoming one objection at a time until the picture becomes more clear. Hey, my friend, thank you for watching. And if you want to see videos just like this one, please like and subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate the love and support. And don't forget, leave some comments down below. I'm looking forward to all of your interaction and feedback, and I can't wait to bring you more videos just like this one. Thanks again. I'll talk to you soon.